guess now it's Welcome to Sacred Grounds. I'm Stephanie Manley, the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts. Good food. Oh, I had great veggie lasagna. And please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Please respect the mic. I'm reading this script. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put devices on mute, vibrate, or airline mode. Dan is not here tonight. He'll be back next week, so he's fine. Tonight's feature is Mr. Natural and the Hayes Street Irregulars. Let's have a hand for Mr. Natural. He'll come in at about 8. And let's see, the keynote will be Owen Dunkel over here. And the mini feature is David Erdreich over here. And the last word is, I don't know, that's to be announced if we're having anyone at all. Please note the link, which is up here on the wall. Streaming is handy in many ways. If you can't be here, you can view in. I feel like I'm doing a damn invitation. If you want someone to see you live, they'll be able to. Want to hear so-and-so's poem again? Well, you can. Want to do a self-critique? No problemo. More importantly, it is a way to put out the word. I refer to the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. So tonight's theme is Bupkis. Thanks to Robert. Bupkis.
Nothing. That's Yiddish for absolutely nothing. Yep.
And the fabulous door prizes we have right here include my favorite, American Archaeology. 2 issues of Nature Conservancy, which is a fine organization that actually buys land to preserve it and save it from development. Living Bird, courtesy of David Erdreich, which is a publication of the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, a wonderful organization.
Just a second, I got something for the prize pool as well.
All right, we'll lay it down right there. Thank you very much.
You got it.
And you can dial up on your computer the website of the Cornell Lab of Ornithology and hear the song of any bird. Any bird. They have it all recorded, mapped out, a full description. And National Wildlife Magazine, which is a publication of National Wildlife Federation, of which I am a proud member. And there'll be more. Did you bring a few books?
I did.
We got a few books, and we have this James Conrad's The Madman at the Mechanics Institute.
Oh, just a second, I gotta sign it first.
It will be a signed copy, and let me tell you, the Mechanics Institute is a very interesting thing. I've just joined it, and the building is fabulous. Worth the price. Here we have Janis Joplin, CD. And a Stan Kenton CD. Stan Kenton and his orchestra, the most adventurous of all the big bands. Sounds good. All right, thank you. Okay, what else? Last, if you wish to record someone, please ask permission. I will assume that you've done so should I notice recordings being made. Only polite first. And Native people insist on it. You can't photograph an Indian without asking permission first. Okay. So let's kick it off with the keynote, Owen Dunkel.
For my keynote, I'll read a poem by Hart Crane and a poem by Dylan Thomas. The one by Hart Crane is at Melville's tomb. Often beneath the wave, wide from this ledge, the dice of drowned men's bones he saw beneath an embassy. Their numbers as he watched beat on the dusty shore and were obscured. And wrecks passed without sound of bells, the calyx of death's bounty giving back his scattered chapter, livid hieroglyph, a portent wound in corridors of shells. Then in the circuit calm of one vast coil, its lashings charmed and malice reconciled, frosted eyes there were that lifted altars, and silent answers crept across the stars. Compass, quadrant, and sextant contrived no farther tides. High in the azure steeps, monody shall not wake the mariner. This fabulous shadow only the sea keeps. Now I'll read one by Dylan Thomas. It's the title poem to one of his books, Deaths and Entrances. On almost the incendiary eve of several near deaths, when one of the great least of your best loved and always known must leave, lions and fires of his flying breath, of your immortal friends who'd raise the organs of the counted dust to shout and sing their praise. One who called deepest down shall hold his peace, that cannot sink or cease endlessly to his wound, in many married London's estranging grief. On almost the incendiary eye, when at your lips and keys, locking, unlocking, the murdered strangers weave. One who is most unknown, your pole-star neighbor, son of another street, will dive up to his tears. He'll bathe his raining blood on the male sea, who strode for your own dead, and wind his globe out of your water thread, and load the throats of shells with every cry since light flashed first across his thunderclapping eyes. On almost the incendiary eve of deaths and entrances, when near and strange wounded on London's waves have sought your single grave, one enemy of many who knows well your heart is luminous in the watch dark, quivering through locks and caves, will pull the thunderbolts to shut the sun, plunge, mount your darkened keys, and sear just riders back until that one loved least looms the last Samson of your zodiac. Thank you very much.
Owen. Guys. Okay, next we'll have Delta O'Hara. And I'll read the next few. Next will be Owen Dunkel. After he reads his keynote, he can come back on the open mic. And then me, and then James Conrad, walked in with the book. And then Mark Kokonos over here, and Randall Wilson.
Put Clara Sue down
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Are you
Did you call me?
Yes, I did. Are you going to stand there?
Are you going to play or are you going to stand or?
I don't need the mic.
Yes.
I have a very loud voice. Even as loud as the coffee machine, so. Okay. I'm Delta O'Hara. I've been here before. Glad that this reading keeps going and going. I'm sure that it's sparsely attended simply because it's after the 4th of July. So, anyway, I'm going to read you a piece about a short piece about my first night on the job in a phone sex office. I'm also a cartoonist, and I have some cartoon samples. I'm a political cartoonist, and that's easy to be in this day and age. So I have some samples, free samples to hand out. I'm also selling framed cartoons extremely cheaply, and they're a wonderful, unique present. Okay, so this is the first night in the phone sex office. For copyright reasons or whatever, I'm placing it in the Isle of Man. Which from my accent you can obviously hear that obviously I'm from the Isle of Man. Which I've heard of, you know. Okay, first night. So this is the recorded voice, and I'm just learning how to be a phone sex operator. Okay. Isle of Man's best girls are online. Please enter your staff PIN number. After the tone, you get up to 1 minute to record your profile. No phone numbers, no addresses, and keep it respectable. On my first night in the phone sex office, I've got my headset on and I'm trying to figure out about my PIN. You have entered your staff details incorrectly. Computer printout. Postal order, pay €50 for 3 15-minute calls. Postal offer, 5 10-minute calls for €50. Fixed spenders only, 16 10-minute calls for only €140. No eating in the call room. Generically bordered with flowers and smiley faces, dot the call room's purple wall. Most of the staff are eating popcorn or takeaways while chit-chatting. Lizzie just called in. She's not coming in tonight. Yep. Seamus just called in as well. He's not coming in either. They then squabble about which radio station to listen to before, as if on cue, lapsing into headphone separateness. I try again. You have successfully logged in. To hear your messages, press 3. I press 3 again, and there's a message. John, brown hair, blue eyes, 6-inch cock. Get back to me. Message exchange is a method by which you leave a dirty message for me, and then I leave one for you. Thrilling, huh? Pressing 4, I leave John a message saying that I'm 5'10", I'm blonde with brown eyes, and I dig brown-haired, blue-eyed guys with 6-inch cocks named John. To request a live one-to-one conference with this caller, press 5. That means you talk to him in person. I cut myself off accidentally. Skyscraper-heeled blonde bombshell manageress Natasha breaks off explaining login procedure to me to snap as she's ever just given her the news. What? Lizzie's not coming in? Roy, the friend of a friend who got me this job, takes over, re-explaining login extremely slowly and extremely clearly as if to someone significantly delayed. After I've been taught to log in and log out, I get sent out on break. I pass homeless people outside of the Nervous restaurant, getting thumbnail sketches of the histories laboriously drawn in a policeman's notebook. And I think about standing bills I owe and rent I have to pay. And that it's lucky I got this job, really. After walking around for 20 minutes, I return to the office to absorb more basic info, such as that live calls come in from England, Scotland and Wales, and they arrive on different servers, whereas message exchange callers are all local, i.e. all from the Isle of Man. And also that when all operators are busy, punters get put through to pre-recorded fake chatters, padding out the profiles of staff on shift, a zombie service for which naturally they get charged. How you doing, Michael here? Any lads out there want to have a chat, get back to me. Hi you guys! How you doing? It's Lisa here, looking for some fun! Michael here. Couldn't quite hear your message. At some point, a live caller asks me if I'd like him to come on his face. Sorry, he asked me if I'd like him to come on my face. Sorry, I got mixed up there, right? Best girl goes first, a petite brunette co-worker tells me before getting stuck in falling asleep. This was easy work, really, Reg assures me, and then into his headset as an Asian girl, fuck my juicy pussy. There are no work partitions. I check out the suggestion box. It's empty. The other operators, Isle of Man's best girls, half of whom are gay men, look to me to be a bunch of people who don't like bosses. To isolate this caller, press 6. To kick this caller off the system, press 7. Picking up a call while putting his coat on when we're leaving at the end of the night, Rage starts into telling a punter, that's a caller, a punter how horny he's getting, then takes the last call, pretending to be the cleaning lady. After putting the system on auto, he opens the ground floor steel shutter to let us out at 5 a.m., complimenting those of us left standing around him. Fantastic job, everybody. I really need this job. Please let me be able to keep this job. As red light flashes, and among the smell of popcorn, the computerized notes, the purple walls, the pre-recording picks up. Michael here, couldn't quite hear your message. Could you send it to me again? Thanks. You didn't know quite what to make of that, did you?
Next will be Owen Dunkel, then me, Stephanie Manning, James Conrad, and Clara. Welcome, Owen Dunkel. Back to the mic.
It's called Score. Backfires, backslides, dilettante, audacity, cold bullion hath master, scrawny umbilicus can canter Allah, Funston Harbor, kid sticks can bring up to inspiration, stuck on a berry, it has never been so bad before, count sheep daily, Lester Maddox daily double, you're the one for me already, I can't make it, Hannah cackles halt, ask Ronald for sour apples, can sing Wallace Stevens for Rebecca. This is a staccato song fest. This loneliness is Christ. 14 lines save you as though you were money. Ahoy. Away to the Trieste trumpet, its gestures and jongleurs have flown with the leaves to heaven like a flock of birds and flowers. Birch besieged balustrades, ballroom, arrogance, dapper dance go forth. The falsity only a faux pas, your pregnant past. Lightning forks my mind in half. Clouds are not in the sky, stark naked rubber horses. My mind is jumping like a jumping horse. My fingers are like jumping beans on a table. I'm no good at all. Descriptive oblong malice, selfless knave. Here I feel like everybody's child. 12 lines are stuck on a toadstool. Quatrain. Abstract whims keep me alive as my letters dry and deny and drive. At Starbucks, people pass as I sigh for the day's indifference. Lines might come to me as my time of need. Couplet in Starbucks. Lazy eyes pass through particles of dazes. The day is a long way from infinity. Couplet. This days of days, my mind has run out of metaphor. This the day of one hand clapping. I Trieste in vain. The falsity and fabric of infinity is more moves and mores than Julie Newmar. The Trieste languor, tumult and noise. I border on unhappiness. Unhappiness is impossible. Something to say is a thing with the future. I drift through the not so distant past to the false darkness. Unfinished poem. Days of drear, clear, distant clouds, clouds of clouds, clouds of darkness and dancing across the skies of metaphor and moonlight. No clouds became, they are my metaphors. Days of wind and would-be hot days. A poem of daily longing. A cloak of clouds salutes the day's upbringing. Now I know why haiku were invented to overcome the day's shortcomings. Patience. I have patience with the stillness. No young queen comes to show me the green, to sleep with the queen. Mystic air. There is only air, the only thing that is there. Metaphors vanish in the cold air. About such things I do care for the wind and wish it would vanish. After Wallace Stevens, imagine the fact that much of reality is silent as the god of money. After money, there is but one. At Starbucks, there is but one green leaf on which to write poems like the one I wrote the week before, as each flight of fancy before Shelley. Spare, I saw a bowling ball as it did its thing and made strikes. I heard the boom resounding of spares. Strike, a bowling ball makes noise like thunder as it rolls down the lane to decide each frame. The cup. The fallen cup empty now, empty as the quiet sky, like a small boat, the empty bow. At the beach. The warm white waves do a peaceful rococo dance on top of the green ocean seawater. In the Trieste, never above it all, I do a lonely dance, searching to make romance. Fog. The fog is like misty, moisty cement. It cowers near the oceans as inevitably it will blow away. Poem at Starbucks. Sally's salad days, my origins have the species, ladders, cough or crows, carry on constable, constipation scares Hayden Carruth, killer courses can be happy all day, the truth talks back, candy for dandies, 2 arrows lost their virginity, cash for the captain, the capstan bars the way, the wheel wanders to the woodshed, heaven is a harangue, folks for the forecastle.
Oh, and one more.
What? Okay. Poem at Starbucks. Strides enough, fair children kneel, keep off the stars, dull to proceed. Heaven some more dazes, glory all rights ahead, glazes, sexpot bunces, hyenas for hiding, kiss all beings, hassles for hiding, nouns are proper to the occasion, I can light your way, college cauliflower, a virgin, reformers resound, sounds like a trickle, a tickle of water, kids carouse to the carousel ballroom. Thank you very much.
We've got a couple more readers here. You gentlemen.
Oh, here's, we have his name. Do you want to
Yes, you
read?
could, but what's your name?
Frank.
Put Frank down.
Frank.
Put Clara. Sue.
We got,
Yeah, she's already down.
okay, hello, I'm Stephanie Manning, if you didn't hear me the first time. Okay. And I've been writing rondeaux. Oh, people have to listen to rondeaux. Anyway, a rondeau's rhyme scheme goes A, B, B, A. Second stanza A, B, R. That's the refrain. And third stanza, 6 lines, goes A, B, B, A, R. So, I'm just trying to. Yeah, I was off poetry for a while and I needed form to kind of help kickstart the process going. And I've been reading about the entry of the Kurdish fighters into Raqqa, the capital of ISIS in Syria. And so this is called Raqqa, ISIS Hell. Some say Assad allowed Raqqa to fall, so ISIS would kill al-Nusrat rebels and all. Raqqa, the very cradle of civilization, subjected to bloodshed and humiliation. No one spared, not women, children, all. People fled, they had no wherewithal to protest the coming fireball. Threats to the Muslims and Christian population, some say Assad allowed Raqqa to fall. The world recoiled, sent bombers after all, to back up the Kurdish advances on the city wall. Today they're in to see Raqqa's humiliation, rubble, siege, and maudlin transformation. Kurdish women fighters set the protocol. Some say Assad allowed Raqqa to fall. It's really nothing but rubble. I don't know why they continue fighting. Anyway, now this is about Tel Zidin, which is the ancient, the very ancient Tel, which is, a Tel is an earthen mound, much like the shell mounds here in Syria. That's called a Tel. And Tel Zidin near Raqqa. It's really the oldest Tel in the world. Humans, earth, water, worth. Sand sculpture gave it birth. Built it up, knock it down. Ancient Tel Zidin town, 8,000 years ago, gave Raqqa birth. Spirit of Euphrates, earth, where Tel Zidin rose at birth. Fertile valley, earth tones brown, humans, earth, water, worth. Spirit of Euphrates, earth, where Tel Zidin rose at birth. Painted pottery, figurines round, obsidian, flint, and copper brown. Isis gives it little girth. Humans, earth, water, worth. And that the meaning of that line about the girth, and ISIS giving it girth, is that it's just a little out of town, and what they're really interested in is rock. But maybe that little distance will help save some of the antiquities here. And then I've been holding this ever since before I took a big hiatus from coming here. This is about 2 months old, back when the House passed the first version of the horrible health care bill, and it's by E.J. Dionne from the Chronicle. We should never forget May 4th, 2017. It should forever be marked as the day when the House of Representatives descended to a new level of cruelty, irresponsibility, and social meanness. The lower chamber has always claimed to be the people's house. No more. It should now come to be known by other names: the House of Selfishness, the House of Suffering, the House of the Wealthy, the House of Expediency, the House of Untreated Illness, perhaps also the House of Trump. The anti-health care bill passed Thursday bids to be the most remarkable redistribution of income in congressional history, from the poor and middle class to the very wealthy. And if anybody'd like this article, just ask me.
Thank you.
Greg, who's next on?
James Conrad.
James Conrad.
James Conrad.
Conrad.
Hello folks, my name is James Conrad. And I'm a little too tall to appear. So anyway, today I conclude my series from the short story, The Madman at the Mechanics Institute. I have one copy left for sale if anyone wants it, but there's also going to be this copy placed in the prize drawing as per tradition at the end of this show. And so without further ado, episode 8. And I want to apologize in advance. I see some people I haven't seen here before throughout the series, and I admit I'm spoiling the story for you. So, here goes. Cheng played chess for another hour, then went to the library on the 3rd floor, where he signed in at one of the internet computers and killed time with YouTube videos until the librarian announced the building was closing. He then gathered his belongings and headed down the spiral staircase to the ground floor. Once he was outside the front door and took a right-on post, headed toward Market, he heard the click of a gravity knife opening, followed by the swish of it slicing downward behind his back. He felt the point tear at the fabric of his t-shirt and scratch his skin. Startled, he whipped around and saw Josh Marks standing before him, blazing eyes like saucers, nostrils flaring with rage, the blade in his right hand reflecting the glow of the amber streetlights. "What's going on?" he asked, taking a deep breath, a little uneasy, shifting his weight so that he was properly balanced with his feet shoulder-width apart and bending his knees a little. "What's all this about? You trying to show me up in there, Ching Ching China boy, huh? Why are you so upset? It's just a game." "Just a game, huh?" said Josh with a murderous smile. "All right, then. You're a badass chess player, all right, but let's see how tough you really are." He lunged toward Cheng, moving the knife in an arc, aiming for his middle. Cheng grabbed Josh's right arm with both hands, twisted until the bone broke, and turned the knife against him, plunging the blade into his left lung all the way to the hilt. Josh gasped, staggered back 3 steps, sagging to his right a little, and looked at his own knife sticking out of him as the blood ran down the front of his shirt. With his unbroken arm, he reached for the blade and pulled it out. As a torrent of red gushed from the wound, he collapsed on the sidewalk and drew his last breath, still holding the knife. Cheng felt a warm trickle on his back and ran his hand up and down where the blade had cut his shirt. He looked at his fingertips and saw blood. In the distance, he heard police sirens advancing toward him. Looking once more at the knife in Josh's lifeless hand, he drew a reassured breath, confident that he would not be seen as the culprit. Just then, he heard a passerby's voice behind him and to his right. "Excuse me, young man. Are you okay?" "Thank you very much." Enjoy the rest of the show.
Next, please welcome the wonderful Clara Sue.
And then Mark
And then Mark Kokonos, and if we still have time, Greg
Yeah.
Pond.
Yeah, Rick Shifter.
Good to see you,
I haven't been coming for a while too. So I have a very small poem for the weather report. In conversation we talk about the weather. It is ever changing. In conversation we ask after each other. Fine, mostly. Who really wants to know the deep torrent, the struggles that brings no conclusion, the dripping sorrow? We are the unchanging state of perpetual fineness. And why not? We've sprung out of the earth, a clump of clay, taking in the moisture, berries in the field, intoned to the sound of the universe. The baggage may be weather-beaten, but the fire ever raging.
Next, the wonderful Mark Kokonos.
All right.
Thank you. It's been. Oh, I got it. Okay. Yeah. I actually work out of the Stagehands Union. And before I start, I got to take that knot out of the cable because it's killing me. Test. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 poems together. It's been literally years since I've been here because of work. First one is one of my own. The second one I'm going to go straight into is by Neruda. It should be bloody obvious which is which. I'll be reading the Neruda poem off of my phone. I wanted to serenade her beauty through her darkest hours, till a pale blue promise of the coming dawn glows just above the horizon. I wanted to inscribe odes to pleasure in a soft, delicate script along the surface of her skin, scented with cinnamon and almonds. I wanted to carve her portrait in language, just so I could caress the long curve of her neck, using only metaphor. I wanted to plunge into all the aspects of human experience with her, from hell's dark caverns to the gold-tipped domes of heaven. I wanted to sit with rapt attention as she spoke, combing out the tangles of daily circumstance, gently peeling apart each subtle layer of her emotions until they lay open and quivering like a flower. But she told me that she hated poetry.
Let's go.
And it was in that age poetry arrived in search of me. I don't know. I don't know where it came from winter or a river. I don't know how or when. No, they were not voices, they were not words, nor silence. But from a street I was summoned. From the branches of night, abruptly from the others, among violent fires or returning alone, there I was without a face, and it touched me. I did not know what to say. My mouth had no way with names, my eyes were blind, and something started in my soul, fever or forgotten wings, and I made my own way, deciphering that fire, and I wrote the first faint line. Faint, without substance, pure nonsense, pure wisdom of someone who knows nothing. And suddenly I saw the heavens unfastened and open, planets, palpitating plantations, shadow perforated, riddled with arrows, fire, and flowers, the winding night, the universe. And I, infinitesimal being, drunk with the great starry void, likeness, image of mystery, felt myself a pure part of the abyss. I wheeled with the stars, my heart broke loose on the wind.
And now the incomparable Greg Pond.
Actually, I was supposed to come in the second half, but we're still awaiting our feature, Mr. Natural, who hopefully will be here momentarily.
I can go ask after this if you like.
He'll be here. He knows.
He should be here shortly. Because he set up the camera, so he will be. Okay. I wrote this one, I guess maybe a few weeks ago. And I must say, all apologies to Sharon, the late, great Sharon Jones, who I borrowed one of her song titles for this. She's probably rolling over. 100 days, 100 nights to know a man's heart was rotten from the start. It didn't take 100 days or nights to know the man was fake. His friends were strange. 100 days, 100 nights, he made us wade through all his lies. 100 days, 100 nights, they tried to turn the country white. Now it's well past 100 days, 100 nights. We're all blue, the devil's in flight. True colors displayed, he wears a red neck tie. The righteous side. On the righteous side, the heroes are always our guys, patriotically well defended by God and national pride. We're the only ones we believe who grieve whenever we combat and die. With each carefully counted, each of kin officially notified. Folded flag, triangle style, 3-volley salute for another death certificate filed. Meanwhile, orphans, mothers, and wives mourn no more here than on the other side. Over lands of jungle and sand to places where the sun doesn't shine. The loss and pain affects us all the same, through concrete, desert, or tropical rain. Whether military blessed or white shroud dressed, the result is the same. When bullets strike flesh, when bombs leave fighters 1 or 2 limbs less, does anyone ever really win a war when hearts are broken and bereft, right and left of the enemy line? Too many end up dying when everyone keeps trying to claim the righteous side. I always sweat a lot whenever I read. Oh well. It's an old one. This is title size 12. His feet smelled of boredom and socks that got too close to overheated streets along the aimless blocks he roamed. The pavement beat against his soles, logging the mileage of directions he chose. His feet smelled of indifference, ceasing to care anymore. He had forgotten how to glide. Now his shoes just wear him down at the heels on one side. Loose ends not tied, open laces pulled slight. Toes unknowingly tapped the road ahead now mapped. His feet smelled of wasted opportunities, walking down the wrong road far too many times with far too little to show. Gone too far with still too far to go, going through the motions to follow where fate goes. His feet smelled of hopelessness, combined with the lingering scent of potential unfulfilled mixed with too much time filled and too much time spent. Crawling to the rhythm of the walking blues. It all ended up with too much of the funky stuff in his basketball dunking shoes. His feet smelled of broken down dreams, broken from the bridge down the bottom of the stream, broken to the bone. An early morning scream was the only sound. No one to witness, no note was found. And the only evidence, a pair of old sneakers left, lying at the scene.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, all right, Mr. Maxwell, are you ready?
We're getting there. We're here. We just haven't set up.
Okay. Oh.
Move that table that way. That one right there. Turn it sideways and move it closer to those two people there, and then we'll be sitting right there.
Which side, Jeff?
You guys will be sitting there where that where the curtain is. Push that curtain on your way.